What's up, y'all? Toya here, and I am back with another video for y'all. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and share. Alright, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Toya Reacts, where I react to anything and everything gig related. So today we got 4 videos we are gonna go over. And yeah, today should be an interesting one. But let's go ahead and get into the first video, y'all.
Dumb things to do as a dasher, part 1. I just saw the dumbest video. This guy's out dashing, and when he gets a no-tip order, he accepts it, waits on it for like 10 minutes, and then unassigns it to punish these no-tip customers. Bro, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. 1, you're wasting your time, and you're not making any money doing it. 2, do you feel like you're getting back at these customers for doing absolutely nothing to you? Like, all you gotta do is push decline and move on with your day. And then you'll set yourself up to get an even better order instead of wasting your 10 minutes staring at a screen waiting to unassign. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Don't do this.
Yeah, y'all, don't do that. That's crazy. Like, first of all, a couple things here. First of all, I know we have this whole, back and forth with, tipping and whether you should do it, if it's optional, mandatory, whatever. Tip culture is really dividing people for no freaking reason. But in this case, this is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Punishing the customer. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not really glued to my phone that much. I say that much because, yes, I do have a tendency to watch where my order is. I want to see, like, okay, the driver's over there. All right, he's got to go this way, and then he'll be over here. And I know my husband's probably watching this. He's probably like, I completely disagree, but listen, sometimes when you're hungry, you just got to be looking like, where's my food? But that's besides the point. I don't see how that's punishing the customer because, first of all, if it's 10 minutes of, you having your order, you sitting on it, and then you unassigning it, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long. Now, obviously, if a bunch of people were doing this back to back, you go from waiting for like, maybe it's a 30, 45 minute delivery estimated time, right? You go from that to maybe an hour 15, hour 30 or whatever. But, at some point you would, obviously get in contact with support. Support's gonna go ahead and figure it out, get somebody assigned, and you'll be on your way. Yeah, you can go and get a refund if you want. So, it's not really punishing. It's like, okay, yeah, they might get lukewarm food, maybe some cold food, but how is that teaching them a lesson? That's like, if they don't want to tip, they're just not gonna tip. There's really nothing that you can do about it other than, well, just declining. So if you see a no tip order, you have every single right to decline it. You don't have to take it. If anything, you taking it and unassigning it, not only are you wasting your time, but you are potentially losing out on money. You honestly probably could have just took the order and be done with it and still got some money, rather than just taking it, sitting there, and then unassigning it. I don't know how many people do this. I hope this isn't like a trend. Like, I know no tip, no trip, but I hope this isn't like a trend going around where people just take orders, sit on them, and then just like, I swear, like, tipping has really divided us as a people. Like, and I have another video that I'm gonna react to today about tipping. We'll get into that, but it has caused such a divide between people. But this particular thing, you're not punishing the customers at all. You're wasting your time. So yes, stop that. All right, moving on to the next video.
New video shows a moment a YouTube prankster was shot by a DoorDash delivery driver. Shooter Alan Colley was found not guilty of his main charges. And prankster Tanner Cook, well, he says he'll continue shooting videos. This YouTuber entered the find out phase with...
Okay, so this just loops. Yeah, I heard about this a couple days ago, and like, if you want to see the full details, there's like a full-length video that you guys can find, but I found a short about it, and I just wanted to discuss it because, bro, like, I'm a YouTuber, I'm also a gig worker. So little known fact about me, guys. I think I might have mentioned it once or twice, I'm not sure. But before I started this channel, I did a few different other things on YouTube. I had a gaming channel, I did vlogs, I had a family channel with my husband, I had a channel about cats, like a decent amount of stuff on YouTube. Yes, it gets frustrating when, you know, you put a lot of work into stuff and you don't get the recognition, you don't get the views, stuff like that. So a lot of people tend to resort to stuff that will bring in clicks, right? And a lot of it revolves around drama, pranks, all of that stuff, right? So you have some folks, like, I don't know if you guys watch this type of content, but they're like different family channels or, you know, just different channels out there in general. They do a lot of pranks, right? This might be an outdated thing because I know back in the day, everybody used to do pranks, right? But you know, people do pranks and stuff, right? But nowadays, a lot of these pranks, they're fake because you can't just pull up on a random person in public and, you know, do something random and don't expect them to go ahead and react in a negative way or whatever, right? Like, yeah, they want to get a rise out of that person. You know, the better the content, the more clicks, right? You know, so instead of taking that risk, they go ahead and fake the pranks. They'll, you know, find a random person and be like, hey, I'll pay you whatever amount, I'm recording this, just had this reaction, whatever, you know, right? So yes, if you watch these bigger YouTubers, believe it or not, yes, a lot of their stuff is fake. But back to the whole point, I don't know what this dude was thinking to be all up in somebody's face. So he's a DoorDash driver, first of all, okay? He's probably already pissed off because the order he got, that order probably was a no-tip order. So he probably trying to go get that food and drop it off so he can keep his acceptance rate up. He already ticked off, okay? He ain't feeling none of that, okay? So dude just constantly in his face, constantly in his face, constantly. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm not trying to say he deserved it, but you don't know what's going on in people's heads. That's why you don't be messing with people in public. Like, you all up in his face, got the phone all up in his face, all up on him and all of that, bro. Like, nah, like I said, not trying to say he deserved it, but you know what happened. And like they said, luckily there were no charges, or at least the charges, they dropped them. So he's not gonna have to worry about, you know, any type of jail time or, you know, anything like that. But to that dasher, you know, I give you a thumbs up. Like I said, not saying it was right, not saying it was wrong, but you know, you did what you thought was best at that time, okay? You know, in the heat of that moment, dude all up in your face, you know, told him multiple times, hey, yo, get up off me, back up, blah, blah, blah. You don't listen, you gotta pay the consequences. So yeah, as gig workers, we definitely have to protect ourselves. And, you know, if you want to carry, if you want to have pepper spray, you know, whatever, you know, because you never know what might happen. Like I said, this guy wasn't technically in any type of immediate danger, but, you know, he did tell him to get up off of him. So if you constantly on somebody and touching them, that's technically assault, and you have the right to defend yourself. So, you know, it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. All right, next video.
Guys, I just learned about something so horrible, so heinous. I had to come on here to make sure none of us were doing this, because if you are, you're a terrible person. So basically, I was reading this article about the CEO of Uber and how he wants to make the driver experience better. So he went full undercover boss and drove for Uber and Uber Eats himself to test it out and see what the problems were. And he struggled with things like the clunky driver sign-up process and getting punished by Uber for rejecting trips and just really rude customers. But the worst thing he encountered was tip baiting. And I had never heard of this term before, but essentially these hungry diners will set really high tips to entice drivers to deliver their food quickly or prioritize their delivery. But once they have the food, these cheapskates will reduce the tip or set it all the way down to zero. Like, what? And don't get me wrong, tipping sucks. We need to find a better system to make sure our service workers can get paid a living wage. But if you're not tipping on a delivery order, those drivers could lose money in a shift because they have to put gas in their car and mileage on those wheels. If you're too lazy to pick up your own food, the least you can do is tip. Don't be a jerk.
Well. So this video is a couple months old, but, you know, still relevant. I'm pretty sure this is still happening on a regular. Now, I don't use the Uber Eats platform, you know, that much. As you guys might have seen, I don't know, a couple months ago, I used it like once or twice. And, you know, food delivery just isn't really my thing. Just, well, because of this, you rely a lot on the tips because base pay is, yeah, less than ideal. So like I said earlier, I just do not understand, why do we have this unnecessary conflict between customers and the drivers? You're punishing each other because why? I don't understand. You're so-called getting back at each other, and I don't understand. Let me back up first of all before I even get into that. So this dude that went undercover, and I used to watch Undercover Boss, but I honestly feel like a lot of companies need to do this. They need to take those high level execs and bring them down to the bottom to see like how everything is, how people are actually working. Because a lot of times the people at the top, they looking at charts, they looking at numbers and all of this stuff. They want to implement all of these things, but they don't really know how it actually is like for the people who are actually like implementing all of those ideas that they have, because it's completely different from just looking at a board versus what's actually happening. I do wish that a lot more people did this so they can understand where a lot of people's frustration comes from. And I don't know if anything else has come out as far as what Uber's gonna do to improve things for their drivers, but this thing with the tip baiting, like, that's a whole nother level of just petty. Because like I said, I did Uber Eats a couple times, and the very, very first time I did Uber Eats, it was a shocker to me because I was used to getting an order. I see how much it's gonna pay me. I complete that order, and that gets added to the total that I made for, that run, right? Whereas Uber Eats, I picked up an $8 order. I'm like, okay, I gotta drive, I don't know if it was like 3 or 4 miles or whatever, right? So I pick up that order, I drop it off. It says I only made like $2 and some change. So I'm like, where did the rest of the money go? And of course, at the end, I found out, because there was a lot of people in my comment section telling me, oh my God, you can get the stuff at the end and blah, blah, blah. And, obviously I figured that out well before I uploaded the video for you guys to see. But, you have the option for the customer to modify that tip if, they're happy or not happy with that service, which I can understand if you have an option to add on, but I don't think that people should have an option to take away, because you're creating this problem right here. And I would hate to be finessed and think that I'm driving, X amount of miles for this pay, and I do the work and come to find out it just got taken right up under me and I'm only getting, pennies on a dollar. I more or less lost money than anything, because that little money I did get, I got to put that back into my car. So, and that's what a lot of people fail to understand when it comes to tipping. It's like, yes, at the end of the day, the company is the one that needs to pay more, okay? But do not take those frustrations of, oh my God, I gotta pay all of these fees, I gotta pay that, I gotta do that. Don't take that out on the driver, because at the end of the day, they still have to put money back into their car for maintenance, for gas, and all of that. And by doing this tip baiting thing, you're really, really hurting the driver, because imagine you have the full expectation to, make like, I don't know, let's just say $10, right? You're doing a favor for a person. Hey, yo, I'm gonna give you $10 for this job, right? So you go ahead and do it. And then they come back to you and they like, you know what, bro? I ain't like the way you look at me, so I'm only gonna give you $2 for that. And it's like, what? So I had you pretty much lied to me. Essentially, you lied to me saying that you were gonna pay me this, and I ended up getting this. And yes, like technically we're not owed a tip, but if you're gonna advertise that you're gonna go ahead and pay this much just so you can go ahead and get your food a little bit quicker, because you already know if you don't give a tip, you're gonna be put on the bottom of the list. Nobody want to pick up your order, right? So you want to go ahead and finesse or whatever you think you're doing, and you take advantage of the fact that, okay, ooh, I can go ahead and change my tip. What they should do is, if the customer does try to take away the tip, the company should go ahead and still pay the driver the amount that they were promised in tip, and then take the money out of the customer's account as an additional service fee or something like that. Because, hey, they all about getting their money and all them fees, right? So look, if they need to do something about that. If they haven't already done something, they need to do something about that, because that's grimy. That's a whole nother level of grimy. All right, on to our last video, guys. Bro, what are you trying to do? Not the dog being shocked he knocked it over. Oh my God. I hate when people say that. I really hate when people say they don't bite, bro. Bro, like, I legit hate when people say he don't bite. He don't bite you. Like, he might bite me because he don't know me. But in all seriousness, I'm an animal lover. I got 2 cats of my own. And I don't know if y'all seen in some of my deliveries, I be talking to the dogs, I be talking to the cats, stuff like that. And yeah, it's something. I have not, you know, had a situation where I thought that I was gonna be attacked, whether it be by a cat or a dog, or, you know. And, you know, the thing is about people's pets, like, obviously the ones where they just busted out the house, I mean, what can you do there? You got them locked up. But I think my husband had told a story, and he was saying like how somebody had their dog like chained up in the front and he couldn't get to the front door. And like, yeah, some people would think, oh, well, he's nice, he's not gonna bite you, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, you don't know that. And like I say, even me, myself, being an animal lover, I'm not gonna take a chance with somebody else's dog biting me. So it's like, yeah, I can kind of read body language and I can tell if they actually are being aggressive or if they're being playful. But, you know, sometimes it's still, you still don't know. You don't know because that's not your dog. They might go ahead and give off the vibe that, oh yeah, they're actually friendly. But then, you know, 2 minutes later, they actually might bite you because, you know, you turn your back to go back to your car and then boom, now they go in hunt mode and they want to attack you. I don't understand why people just don't control their pets. Those dogs need to be trained. We're gonna get a dog eventually, but I'm gonna make sure that my dog is trained. They are not gonna bark when the doorbell rings. They're not gonna bark when company come over. I understand that with some dogs, it's more or less a territorial thing. You know, if you see a suspicious person you're not familiar with, a lot of times they bark. But a lot of that comes with training. If you do not train them at an early age to be used to, you know, strangers coming up to the door, to the sound of the doorbell, to the sound of whatever, like, they just gonna do what they want to do. Like, literally. And yes, some dogs, they just might have temperament issues where it's a little bit harder to train. Some of them might be doing it out of fear, but like I said, a lot of that still comes with, you know, just taking the time to actually learn your pet, train them, and all of that. Now, cats can be trained, but a lot of times they just kind of do what they want to do. Cats is not really much you can do with them. They're super independent compared to dogs. Dogs, you know, might be a bit easier to go ahead and actually train them. But yeah, people, control your pets, especially if you know you have some deliveries coming. Make sure your animals are locked up. Make sure, you know, if you got a dog that's like a big dog that could potentially bust through a door or a window, make sure he's in the crate. You know, do what you got to do, because I swear, the day that I get attacked by a dog, man, that's gonna be a payday for me. That is gonna be a payday for me, y'all. Man. So, yeah. But I feel like that was a good place to wrap it up. So if you guys have any videos that you would like me to react to, please send them to toyadrives1@gmail.com. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. And as always, stay safe out there and keep grinding.